Matt White. You're watching Racing-Leagues.com with Steve O'Connor and Troy Allen.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. This is Racing-Leagues.com with our coverage live from Melbourne's Albert Park circuit of the final pre-season event for 2016. Alongside me as my co-host Troy Allen. Troy, welcome.
Yeah, good to be back here for race 2, Steve, and if race was anything to go by, who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, that was an interesting race 1 to say the least. Apologies to our viewers on Twitch. We had a technical issue in where I did not remove the banner across the start of the screen, so well done there. There was just issue after issue with our first race, so stay tuned for race 2. So we're going to make this one of the best races possible. As with any of our second race events, they are reverse grid from the results of the first race, so the fastest drivers have to actually come through the field safely to get back up to the front. So it makes for action end to end, Troy.
It definitely does, and it gives the slower guys a chance to run at the front there and develop a bit of racecraft, and gives the faster guys at the back end of the race, gives them a chance to really show what kind of talent and skill they've got as a driver.
Okay, so let's explain to our viewers what we actually do at Racing-Leagues.com. So we host a V8 Supercars series using the R Factor 2 platform. Anyone's welcome to come along and join us and sign up at Racing-Leagues.com. If you're viewing these cars for the first time, well, you're in for a bit of a treat, to be honest. You've got a car that's unique to Australia, the V8 Supercar. So we've got several varieties this year. Obviously, we've got the Holden Commodore and the Ford Falcon FG, both sort of the stalwarts of the series up until the last few years when we've had the new manufacturers come along. So Troy, tell us about the new cars.
Well, basically, the way it came across was V8 Supercars were on their way to ensure the lifespan of the series and provide it the ability to move on. And by doing that, they thought they needed to introduce new manufacturers to get a wider audience. So they devised what they called the car of the future, which was headed by Mark Scaife, ex-HRT driver, and which basically opened up the regulations somewhat to allow additional manufacturers such as Chrysler. They were in talks, Dodge, numerous manufacturers, but we ended up with Nissan, Mercedes, and Volvo joining the league and the championship back in 2013, I think it was. And basically what it came down to is there are two teams now that manufacture the chassis for the cars, and then they get sent off to the individual teams. So we'll say Nissan Motorsport, the Kelly brothers there, they'll get a chassis from Triple Eight Engineering, and then they'll just bolt their Nissan panels onto it and get your V8 Supercar just in that respect, that way.
So the V8 Supercars themselves, we always talk about them being quite high-powered, low-tired, and very much unique to this part of the world. So if we just go down to a bit of depth, what sort of power do these cars run?
Basically, you're looking at a 5-litre capacity V8 engine, pushrod style. I think this actually runs an overhead cam. You're looking at about the 650 horsepower mark. Now, it is varied slightly across the field. I think the Nissans are only around the 640, 645 mark. But realistically, it's not so much... Look, a lot of people have the horsepower figure as, oh yeah, I've got 1,000 horsepower, I've got, it must go like all powers. But realistically, it's not the horsepower that gets the car moving, it's actually the torque figures, and these things are torque monsters. They turn the tyres with great ease.
Definitely. So then we talk about the low tire sort of experience as well. So what do we mean when we say they're very under-tired?
Basically, you look at the contact patch that is in constant contact between the car and the road, and they're only an 18-inch tyre, and they're only, I think, they're about a 275 width series. Now, in comparison with, let's say, a Formula One tyre, it's about half the size, I think it is, of a Formula One tyre. So half the contact patch on the road means you've only got a very small amount keeping you from meeting the wall that's sitting right next to you. And the skill that these guys possess in the real life series to get the speed they get out of these cars at a consistent basis and walk away each week without a scratch on them it just shows the talent these guys have, and it's been said from quite a few other drivers, like Lewis Hamilton did a drive swap with Craig Lowndes at Mount Panorama. I think it was in 2012. Actually,
Yeah, wasn't that Jenson?
He couldn't believe
wasn't that Jenson
the
Button?
car. He said, they just are an incredibly different machine to try and tame. It's a very unique set of skills.
Yeah, I think that was actually Jenson Button and Craig Lowndes, wasn't it? So yeah, I think as we were saying there, yeah, they're not very comparable to many other cars that are out there. Although we do know at Bathurst, for instance, they achieve a comparable lap time. They're not quite as fast, but there's a comparable lap time to something like a GT3 car, isn't it?
Very, very close. I mean, you have seen some of the GT cars go down to the low 203s, and I think Craig Lowndes actually holds the record up at Mount Panorama at 2:03 03. Now, unfortunately for myself, growing up with V8 Supercars, I grew up with the later years of Peter Brock's, your Dick Johnsons, and back in my day when I was a child, it was the true touring car. It was basically race on Sunday, sell on Monday. It was, you'd go down the street and you'd buy a VK Group A Commodore and you'd be able to go to the racetrack and see the exact same car on there. And as, evolution is something that happens, they've become a more specialised style of racing car, and it's still entertaining to watch, being able to watch them touch panels and everything like that, and the drivers and the rivalries. But realistically, I think for grassroots, it's a great motorsport. It really does get the blood pumping.
Definitely, yeah. And there seems to be quite a bit of a delay here, just as we're getting on to the race. So I think we're about to start gridding up at any moment now. Yes, so this should be a reverse grid race, which makes it very interesting for everybody watching. And it doesn't look like it's a reverse grid race, so apologies for that. We are being made to look like as big idiots as possible by the series at the moment. Our information is that race 2 should always be a reverse grid race. Not quite sure what's happened here.
Is April Fool's Day coming out this day?
Don't know, mate, but I definitely feel like it today. So the Brett Clark car appears to have not been gridded up correctly. It's on pole position. Everybody else seems to have reversed.
Yeah, who knows what's going on here, because it looked like there for a second that the Wayne Pangelli car was actually a Nissan.
Excellent. Yeah, there does appear to be some issues with the Nissans in particular. They don't appear to conform to the same standards as the rest of the cars across labelling and being able to move them around in the grid as well. So I can respect, obviously, that we're having a bit of an issue trying to get everybody organised.
And look, this is all things that, these are the reasons why we have pre-season, is to try and find out where the issues are and what we need to do to fix it.
Yeah, we definitely need a resolution for some of these things. Yeah, it would be good to see, but I would imagine that if this doesn't work, we'll have the Brett Clark car starting from the pit lane.
Yeah, I think you'll find Brett Clark at the pit lane, and I think it's only fair to have Kai in there with him as well.
Well, yeah, it looks like Kai's car has been gridded up correctly. So we should have Norman Clark from pole position from Johnny Fawns in third, Chris McCall in the Volvo in fourth, Ian Hannon in fifth, Wim Pengelly in the SR Holden in sixth, Dan Ricard Pavel in the, I believe that's going to be the new Vegemite Racing team, and then we have Road Thief in eighth from Dan Stevens, 9th Gavin Cox, 10th Mazda 11th, Kai 12th, and latecomer Coyle in 13th position.
Hang on a sec, Steve. Did you just say Vegemite Racing?
I did, Vegemite Racing. I have had had the pleasure of having a preview of the cars, and they look quite stunning, to be honest. It's another Holden team on the grid.
Can you get any more Australian than Vegemite-sponsored V8 Supercars?
I don't think so, since we have absolutely no idea what Vegemite is, apart from it's something that you people put on bread.
Get yourself some Vegemite. Don't do what the Americans do and be stupid and pile it on about 3 inches thick. Just a light, very light, just so it changes the colour very minutely. You won't look back.
My life will be complete. So
Yes,
what? You can't just leave it there, Troy. So what the hell is Vegemite?
it's a spread. It can be very salty. It's a very hard flavour to describe, but you put it on there on some toast with some butter, melted butter, and a very light. When I say light, you just sort of brush the bread with the toast with the Vegemite, and the flavour sensation is incredible.
I do feel that we're right now involved in a blooper reel and the outtakes from the season. This will be one of the highlights. That sounds like a recipe to a heart attack for me.
No, only if you want to put half a tub of butter on there.
Well, you just did for the sides of it. You've melted it and everything.
Oh no, because the toast is fresh out of the toaster, so it automatically melts.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you clarified that for us. Everybody's life's complete now as well. So if you want your Vegemite recipes or how to use Vegemite, it's Troy at Racing-Leagues.com. Do feel free to give him a shout.
I'll even give you the most Australian breakfast is tomato sauce on toast.
Right, that's another awesome delicacy. Well, I'm sorry I'm missing all of these awesome delicacies, as we say. Yeah, not a lot I can say about that, really, Troy. You've left me hanging.
Give it a try. Trust me, you won't look back again.
I suppose we do have quite a bit of time to fill in before the start of the first race. Not sure what is going on. Apologies to our viewers on Twitch. If you're watching it back later, do enjoy the squirming in the commentary box from myself and Troy as we look for things to talk about. We could talk about the weather again, Troy, I suppose. It's 20 degrees track and air temperature. What's the chance of showers, do we know?
From what I've understood today, throughout the day at Melbourne, it's been one of those days where it could happen, it couldn't happen, it may happen, it did happen. And that is Melbourne. Sometimes it's very unpredictable, which is actually very much like Mount Panorama, 4 seasons in one day.
Absolutely. So just checking the weather radar here, we've got the ability to check what's on the way, and everything appears to be looking quite clear on the radar at this point in time.
Yeah, it could be very clear, but because Melbourne is a coastal area town, it can change at the drop of a hat really quickly without any warning.
Definitely. Yeah, we've still got a bit of a delay coming on here, so let's see what's actually happening weather-wise.
Sunny and chance of rain. That covers pretty much all bases.
Okay, so I'm just going to actually go and find it out. Yeah, so viewers, just stay with us while we get ready for this race. Nice to see what's actually happening. Oh, interesting. Yes, we've just pulled up the weather, and there is a rain front coming in from the southeast from the looks of it. It's quite a bit away from the track at the moment, but there is potential for it to arrive at some point during the event.
And that's where all the weather fronts do come from for Melbourne, is from that south region, and they do hit quite hard when they hit in some way.
Yeah, so just looking at the track's looking pretty torn up at the minute. There's plenty of rubber down there as well, so provided the weather stays away, the railroad should enable some awesome times to be coming in. I'm just going to keep an eye on that weather front. Troy, it's got a hell of a lot closer to the track. Yeah, we definitely could see some action later on. So it's 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time down in Melbourne at this point in time, and yeah, looks like a little bit of rain potentially on the way. I'm not quite sure why I said potentially like that, but yep.
It could throw the cat amongst the pigeons with a reverse grid. Now, the problem for the reverse grid is these cars are totally different to get off the line as opposed to the previous mod. I myself have found them very difficult with their clutch release. So it's a technique in itself that you've got to spend a lot of time trying to get right.
Yes, I would subscribe to that opinion as well. Starts is one of my own fortes. I've always been able to make up quite a few positions off the grid. These cars, you really have to change your clutch point and your rev point as well to try and get them without spinning them up too much. And then you've got the flip side of it, obviously, of cutting the power too much and not getting going anywhere.
Oh, it is. They're a very delicate machine, and being a V8, they're known for their torque and their down-low rumble. But these things, with some of the ratios they run and the sticky tyre, really creates a bulk-down effect, and it can see you swamped by about 10-15 cars.
Yes, clearly. So the grid is forming up. I don't think it's quite right, but I think we're just going to go with it, hopefully. So we've got the Johnny Fawn's Volvo in pole position, from the Gavin Cox Xbox Ford Falcon in second position. I believe that's slightly out of position from the results. Chris McCall in the other Volvo in third position. Demaster fourth. Ian Hanlon starting fifth. Out of sixth place we have Norman Clark. Out of seventh, Wayne Pengelly. Eighth, Dan Picard-Pavel from Vegemite Racing. And then we have Road Thief in ninth, Dan Stevens down in 10th position, Kai coming up in 11th, and our race winner from race 1, Brett Clark, starting out at 12th position with another Nissan just right behind him of a late starter. So it should be an interesting event. Cars are just going right, making their way around towards the back end of it. Troy, what are we expecting from this one? We've obviously got the Gavin Cox car out of position a little bit here. You'd expect him to be heading for the front very fast.
Look, we said that Gavin hasn't had much luck in this pre-season. Well, guess what? That just changed. Take Gavin Cox out of the equation, I think there's carnage, Steve. I really do.
Absolutely. 25 lap race. I will try and keep the absoluties to a minimum. I've just realised I keep saying that every 2 or 3 words. So let's get going. Johnny Fawn's on pole, new guy. Let's see if he can get off nice and cleanly. Gavin Cox is on the inside for the run down into the first right hand corner. So potentially he's on the racing line if he gets going good off the grid. Ready to go, Troy?
Do I have to watch? This could be messy.
Well, this is always the hazards of the reverse grid race. So here we go. The engine revs start to rise now. We're counting down towards green. And it is green, 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 green.
Yeah, it's a cracking start there from Gavin, as we thought. And it appears is that Dan Stevens from the back, or
yes, it is Dan Stevens on the outside going in around the Norman Clark car, and we've got the Gavin Cox car has ran off again in the same position from the start.
This is Dan Stevens round. Dan Stevens is around out of turn 2.
Big crash. Let's get on board with the Stevens car.
It appears victory address.
Yeah, so we're just watching for the on board.
There's a lot of hip and shoulder in that turn 1 section.
So we've got the rear view of the car just to make sure did he get a tap on the way in. So we're going into the left-hander. He's rubbing with his teammate on the outside there as well. He's coming round and straightens up. Oh, DSA car in the rear. Oh dear. Yes, I believe there's going to be some conversations following this race.
Yeah, I'll go get me suit and tie out of the truck.
I think you'll be in Mr. Duncan's office following the conclusion of this race.
What beer does he drink?
I don't know, but I suggest you bring a lot of it. So we're on track again, and the Kai and Dan Stevens car are together once again. It's a bit unusual there, unless he redressed the position.
Yeah, he did. Kai pulled himself straight over and waited for Dan to pass, and it's almost like the Dave Kinnaman and Dan Stevens show reincarnated.
Yeah, I think to be fair, this is the first time they've been together on track, so it's not quite as intense as that. Be good to see what Dan can do from here. I would suspect that there is some tyre degradation following that spin around. The front of the car did take quite an enormous whack into the barrier as well.
I think you'll find he's got massive steering damage. There'll be a bent steering arm at least. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of detriment that has on tyre wear, and as we know, that you slide a little bit in these tyres, accident like that, you're going to lose 15-20%.
Yes, we're just inside the 33 Nissan now. We can keep an eye from the cockpit and see if there's any unusual behaviour from the car, but so far it looks pretty straight and true. It's turning in when he wants it to.
That steering doesn't look 100% straight, and you might find that it is slightly bent.
Okay, and we've got Kai battling hard in front and got knocked a little bit, and he's in the wall. Dan's just had to back out of it a little bit there.
I'll tell you what, as I said, there was carnage. I was hoping I was wrong.
Well, especially when it's your teammate, so welcome to my hot seat for the last 2-3 seasons.
I'm just watching the deliverables wrap up.
So out of all of that, we have the Brett Clark car has made his way up to third position and is 6.6 seconds behind the lead. So that's a phenomenal drive through the field there.
And that's one thing Brett's been known for. And we've got another spin.
Just in the background, yeah, I just heard that as it went off. Yeah, I think it's just a spin. Was it Nissan?
It was actually, there was, I think, Ian Hannon and Wayne Pignelli involved there.
We're just looking now. We've got the Nissan in front of Kai. Yeah, that was the earlier issue. So if we try and switch to the next issue, so we've got Kai coming up the back of the Norton Nissan. He goes to the inside, and the Nissan just runs off and into the wall on the outside there. So, yep.
I tell you what, it's did someone say take all your gloves off and just go hell for leather? Because it's just gone crazy.
Absolutely. Well, I hope the boys get it out of their system before the points paying round start next week. And we've got a stop-go for the 222 car for avoidable contact. That's the Wayne Pengelly car, isn't it?
Yes, it is, and that was one incident I was referring to. It was him, I'm pretty sure, involved with Ian Hannon.
Yeah,
so
we've just got the replay on now. It's actually the 888 Road Thief car. So let's just see the incident that triggered the drive-through penalty. He was in third, fourth. Oh, he's just missed his braking point again and just clipped the 888 car there. So a little bit unfortunate. Do you know what? Is this second incident we've had with the Pengelly car? Is he suffering from sort of technical issue with that car?
The problem with these cars is when you're following another car so closely, it's very easy to miss your braking marker. Sometimes it pays to just step out from behind the car in front and get a view on what's coming in front of you.
Yes, we just got a question from someone on Twitch. This is the Racing Leagues V8 Supercars FVR Factor 2014 V8 Supercar Racing League. This is the Australian version. There is a European version on the Friday nights at 19:30 GMT. By all means, Fabin99, make your way over to Racing-Leagues.com and you can get all the details and join up or take part if you wish.
The more the merrier, and definitely there's a lot of seats vacant in that Euro League, so if anyone's interested, it's Saturday morning, 6:30 for the Australian blokes and 8:30 for the New Zealand guys, and tell you what, it's a hoot, especially some of the tracks they're running. Yeah, it's definitely something at the end of the year for the guys to look forward to. I know myself personally, I'm looking forward to the Brock Trophy at the end of the year because I'm actually probably going to crack out a third car or a second car actually to try and find someone to drive with because I'm super pumped for it, Steve. We've got a massive incident at the back of the field. We've got Wayne Pignelli involved again with Coyle and Johnny Fons. The Nissan and Volvo seem to have come together there, and Wayne was just an innocent bystander. Yeah, look, that's one thing about Brett and the way he drives. That once he decides that it's time to make a move, it's pretty much over and done with before you even realise it's done. And just, oh jeez. And these are things that guys have got to become accustomed to. You've got to realise, have a look around you, have a look at your track map and everything like that, and just see there's cars coming back around because it's not only your race you're running, it's someone else's. And I mean, the last thing we want is someone to sort of turn in front of a Brett Clark who's in the battle for a championship and it just cost him that because someone's unsafe rejoin. And that's what pre-season is about, Steve. It is a learning curve, and it gives you an insight to what to expect in when the heat is on in real battle. And that's the same with any sport in motorsport. Is if you're going to qualify sort of mid-pack, backpack, that's where all the trouble starts. Everyone's sort of playing for sheep stations on that first turn, and that's where a lot of people find that they get unstuck and their race is over before it's begun. Clearly, whoever painted the cars have given one a little bit more than the other. So, look, it's going to be interesting. Has Gavin just been doing enough to sort of monitor the gap before Brett made the pass, and now he's been able to step it up a gear, or is Brett just conserving tyres? That's incredible because Nielsen has never been known for a straight line speed, and that could just come down to corner exit. And it's one thing I did mention in the previous race. It is very crucial at this track to get a very good exit out of your turn. You want to be on the throttle as hard as early as you can, especially out of that final turn. And that's a textbook marker move there. You see the faster guys come up, give them some room, let them through, especially when you've got two guys of this caliber battling. Yeah, it is. Get some popcorn, get some soda drinks, whatever else you decide you need, because. And that's one. Oh, hold on, the lights are on too. The doors are left ajar, but Gavin slammed it shut very quickly. Oh, it really is, and that is trademark Brett Clark driving there. He's got a chance up the inside here. He's got a good run out of it. Oh, I tell you what, they're all over each other here, and it's great racing. I tell you what, oh Jesus, I could watch this all night. Yeah, Brett is. This is incredible to watch. I've been watching this pretty much from Brett's seat the whole way, and I tell you what, it's brilliant watching. Yeah, you can see he was just pushed there, Steve. You can see the car rear end got away from him a little bit. Yeah, I think Brett's starting to get a little bit flustered with the door not being left open enough. He's just trying to make a gap. I think he just needs to probably back it down a little bit. The gap will come. Oh, it's a cracking exit. And it's a shame. It really was, because I was looking forward to watching that for another 4 or 5 laps. Oh, now is that just a bit of showmanship there from Brett saying, yeah, okay, I'm finally here now, and see you later? Yeah, he's clearly really driven hard on that, just for that one lap there to overwork the tyres. You'll probably find that car might be a little bit loose in places now for probably the next lap or two while he cools it down. And you can just see that in the body language of Brett's car now. He's been really nursing it and really gentle. I mean, I'm watching his throttle trace now, and he's very deliberate in how he's applying it, and very slowly. Go you, good thing. I tell you what, he's probably one of the newcomers that has really surprised the most, and I think with some time and some experience, he's going to be up there with your Brett Clarks, your Gavin Cox, and your Rob Herberts. I think that it suits him better there being further up the grid, and I think it comes back to what you said earlier on, that if you qualify poorly, you're going to have a poor race, and now Ian's got the benefit of being at the front end of the grid, and he's been able to take advantage of that. And that's the key. But that's the key to that corner there, Steve. Those two sequence of corners there. You've got to run virtually right over the ripple strip. And yeah, obviously. Now, depending on what compound they're running, I mean, I can't see clearly enough at this stage that if we can get a better view, you might say be running the hard compound if it's available to the back end quite easily. But in saying that, we have seen guys run 20 and 25 laps on a soft compound too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, our technical issues continue. It looks like my microphone had switched itself off at some
just
point.
Watching Dan Stevens now rejoin the field. Looks as though he hasn't come out last of all, so not too bad a loss for him.
Yeah, so Brett Clark is leading at this point from Kai. 9 seconds though down now. Kai's pulled 2 seconds back in that last lap.
That could either be an incredible drive from Kai, or Brett's just breathing a sigh of relief and moving on.
Yeah,
Gavin's
so
tyres could have
let's
been
see.
days.
Let's see how long. Oh, and he's straight in the pits
Brett
on this lap. Pit stop. Yep, for the leader.
And what about Kai? And Kai's in too.
I'm hoping it's a planned pit stop this time, mate.
So am I. Please, boys.
Yes, well, we're going to find out again. So let's just watch the two lead cars. So that should put Ian Hannon into the lead. This guy stops on his marks there.
Yeah, nice clean stop.
It was
just watching Brett Clark car in the background.
So the Brett Clark car starts off now. So it'll be interesting to see now if the DSA car gets going anytime soon.
Still stationary.
It's another unplanned pit stop, mate. Something you're gonna have to work on there with the team.
And look, he's new to the sport. Not he's new to R Factor 2 as well. He won't understand that. Don't plan your pit stop. It's gonna bite you hard.
Yes, absolutely. That's unfortunate there, to say the least. We'll see what the lap time when they both cross for the next lap. See what time they lost in the pits. Last time it was around 8 seconds, I believe, that he lost to the Brett Clark car.
Yeah, and it puts you in a situation where you're going to lose the benefit of taking the pit stop because you're going to drive that little bit harder to try and gain up that 7 or 8 seconds.
Yeah, so just watching Ian Hannon in the lead now. It's good to see Ian getting his nose out in front there as well, so I imagine he'll be in the pits anytime soon as well. But nice to get a lap or two led. Does no harm for the confidence whatsoever.
Definitely not, and the sponsors a bit of airtime as well because.
We've got a car off the track here, Road Thief in the 888 car coming into the right-hander. He's just sort of overrun now. He's still good. It must be further on down.
He just doesn't. I don't know. That car just doesn't seem happy watching it, and it just seems very, very loose in the rear.
Yeah. Yeah, can't see any obvious issue there. So I think it was just highlighted. I just run a little bit wide of the exit, but yeah.
Yeah, the car's definitely not on. It's a massive lock-up. That tyre is going to be flat split like you would not believe, Steve.
And Ian Hannon, our race leader, is now in the pits. That will put Brett Clark back to first with Gavin Cox second. Norman Clark is in fourth, which will soon become third, yet to take a stop. And there's a queue forming behind Norman. Actually, we've just jumped to it. And he's straight in the pits, actually.
And there it is, Kai's right on the back of those two there. It's
All hell is breaking loose here. We've got the 888 car and the number 2 HRT car going at it. Quite strong moves, and Kai is coming up on the back of these two as well, so he's going to have a bit of an issue trying to get through these.
I think realistically, I'll put my helmet on here and I'll be Kai. I'll just sit back and watch them go at it and destroy their tyres and take advantage of the leftovers.
I don't think he's that kind of driver though, unfortunately, so I imagine I imagine the nose will be down shortly, and these two are holding each other up as well. There's Kai's round the outside of the 888 car. Is he going to get through here? That's a very tight spot, and he looks like... Ooh, no. That was close. Ooh, breath of air there.
I'm just watching the dollar bills add up. I mean, I love the fact that he's willing to have a go, but I think he's going to have to just probably tame it down a little bit and think of the big picture, not just that 6 extra points at the end of the day.
That's true, yes. We're into championship mode from next week, or the next event, which is next week, ironically. Yeah, it'll be good to see if these people are able to tame down some of the manoeuvres for the actual season when it means something and there's points and positions on the line.
Well, that's definitely the factor. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. I'll have a chat with Kai throughout the week and see where his head's at and what he's expecting from the championship and what his frame of mind is. But just on team owner to team owner, what would you do with someone like Kai, Steve?
I think it's one of them. Anytime that I've had a driver up and coming, you've just got to work with them. You've got to envisage what your end outcome is, where do you want to be, and how you get there, and how you get there the safest. It's the end goal that matters. It's not how you get there, but how you get there has to be safe.
Yeah, definitely, exactly right. And look, when you've got someone that's showing as much raw speed as what Kai is, I mean, during that first practice session today, he had the fastest third sector, and it just shows the kid's got some speed.
Yeah, clearly, it's just harnessing that speed and aiming it at the right sort of area, and he will come along nicely.
Yeah, and look, I could get a lot of grey hair or pull out a lot of hair in the process, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a very rewarding venture, and watch this kid grow in this championship could be a highlight of my team owner career.
Absolutely, yeah. And I will tell you, you'd be prepared to lose some hair. Most of mine's fallen out over the years with trying to manage and look after some fast drivers who didn't want nothing more than get one over on each other.
And that's the thing, when you've got two drivers of that nature in the one team, there's going to be some clashes, there's going to be some panels rubbed, and they always want to, it's always the thing with motorsport, you want to get one over your teammate because he's got the same gear as you.
Yeah, absolutely. There's been plenty of quiet meetings following an event where we try and calm it down and try and work through the issues, so...
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. It's part and parcel of the sport, and it just shows how much these guys really do love what they do, and they're not doing it just for laughs and giggles and that. They're serious about this, and a lot of these guys spend a lot of time during the week trying to get the car ready just for these 20 or 40 laps.
Yeah, that's the thing. Maybe some of our viewers don't realise. It's not a matter of just jumping in the car and going fast. You have to work at it, make the car work with you. You can't take one of these V8 Supercars and try and dominate the car. It just doesn't work. You're going to end up with 1, no tyres, and 2, a visit to the wall or the pits too many times.
Most definitely, and I can speak from first-hand experience. I mean, I've only been involved with you guys, with Racing Leagues and online sim racing for, this will be my second year now. And that first 12 months was a massive learning curve with setup and positioning the car, and look, in that first 12 months I've gained probably 5 seconds, 6 seconds on where I was, and a lot of people don't understand this is a lot harder than just jumping in and turning the steering wheel.
Totally as well. I mean, you mentioned the steering wheel there as well. You've obviously got your controller set up as well. You've got to work out what works for you. What works for you might not work for somebody else. You've got brake sensitivity, brake pressure, throttle sensitivity. You've got steering angles, all sorts of parameters before you even get in the car to ensure that you're comfortable and able to drive it as comfortably for as long as possible as well. Then of course you're into the setup of the car as well. You know, how soft do you make the car for the track, how hard do you make it. You've got every possible parameter that you do in the real cars to adjust, and whereas the real drivers have got well, when I say real drivers, our guys are pretty much real drivers as well, but when you look at the live series, they've got engineers and teams of people behind them to work it. These guys have to be an engineer and driver at the same time.
Not just engineer, driver, it's basically you've got engineer, driver, tyre guy, strategy guy, fuel guy, all rolled into one.
Yes, and that's these guys have to work on the fly. I know our team, SRT, we work quite closely together during the events as well as to strategy, positioning on track, what each car is doing, what each driver needs to do to try and assist each other as well. It's just there's a constant flow of information as well, which a lot of our viewers don't see or don't have the ability to get involved with, but it's a very high level operation for each of these drivers to get these cars fast and to get anywhere near a decent finish.
And it is, it's very, you have to be very committed. It's not something you can take just, you know what, I might do 5 laps on Friday night before the race and turn up on Saturday night and expect to blitz the field, because I can tell you now, you're going to be watching the field go past you numerous times.
Yeah, you're going to be watching from the rear very fast, aren't you?
Oh, most definitely. It's something you have to be completely committed to, be willing to spend probably upwards of 5 to 10 hours a week before the race.
Yeah, and that does mean that the guy that's carrying the number 1 at the end of the year has worked their absolute ass off and has got the talent to go with it as well. And it's something that we all sort of aspire to in the racing series, is to try and get to that level and then be able to stay at that level as well.
Oh, look, everyone wants to have that number 1 on their car, and unfortunately only one person gets it. And you're right there, Steve, but it does go to the guy that, in this kind of championship, in this kind of motor or sport, it does go to the guy that does work the hardest during that non-racing time.
Yes, and it does help the series as well to see so many good drivers out here as well. I mean, the field spread at the minute down to 7th position is only 55 seconds with 15 laps in the book and a few pit stops done as well. So it's close. This, as we spoke about in the earlier broadcast, is the biggest spread we've seen all year in the field. I mean, they've all been a lot closer. It's something unique to the circuit. Just can't quite put my finger on it, but it does seem to have caused the biggest gaps.
I think you might find that it's the size of the track too. It's 5 kilometres, probably the second largest track that we'd go to, Bathurst being the largest. So that probably comes into the aspect. But I tell you what, it's a great advertisement for the league that we run here, Steve, because there's a level for everyone across the whole field. I know personally myself, when I joined, I was a back marker, but there was still someone for me to battle there. And as you go, you actually can raise your goals, and you never know, you might be the next Brett Clark.
Yes, everybody starts somewhere. So we just do a little bit of a through the field with 15 laps in the book, 10 to go. Obviously, Brett Clark is out in first position. Last lap of 152.59, which is less than 8 tenths off his best overall lap. So still plenty of pace in that car at this point in time. Second place, we have Gavin Cox. Good to see Gavin up near the front. He did have the lead at the start. There was an intense battle with the Brett Clark car there as well. Just ran a 153.6, which is only 2 tenths off his best overall lap of 153.5. And then we've got the DSA car. Troy, I'll let you talk about that in third.
And you've got Kai there running back in third. He's seems to be making a strong positioning for himself, and I think he'll be happy to come away with 2 podiums out of this weekend. Further back, we've got the one of the Red Bull cars there in the Master. Running solid, had a few issues I think throughout the day, has he, Steve? Yeah,
he ran afoul of the stewards in the previous race and got I think it was a stop-go penalty, but he's shown good pace. He would have been up in third position in that previous race only for the infringement, but he's got himself up into fourth now. He's 27 seconds off the lead, not that many seconds behind Kai, and he's looking solid.
Yeah, definitely, and you can actually almost smell Kai now. They're definitely within eyeshot. So it could be an interesting couple of laps here.
Yeah, and we got the fifth position car into the pits. I did notice that he was in front of both Kai and Damasta for quite a few laps there, and then it started to look like the tyres were going. So he's maybe left it a little bit too late, but that's going to be 2 pit stops within 15 laps. So something Vegemite Racing crew need to work on there and understand the cars a little bit better. Then down in 7th position we have Ian Hannon in the Jack Daniels Nissan running strongly.
And that is crucial to these cars, is understanding what they want from you as a driver and an engineer. They're very delicate, they're very finicky, and one thing Brett has said about the new mod is they're very responsive to change, so it's either a good change or a bad change, and either way it goes, it's going to be a massive benefit or a massive loss.
Yeah, we did miss out their 5th position, the Dan Stevens car, apologies. Dan just hasn't looked like he's quite had the pace all weekend, which is unusual because he's normally right up there, so a few questions to work through at the end of this race for this track.
It's so much a question of asking the track, the setup, everything. One thing that's just probably occurred to me is it's changed manufacturer for Dan too. Does the Nissan maybe not suit him as well as the Commodore did last year?
Well, that is an interesting question as well. Obviously, they had the Merc rent-a-cars out last week, and he was right on the pace there, obviously, in 2 troubled events. But yeah, it's something that needs to be looked at, but you can adapt the car and adapt the driving style to it. I think it's just one of those off events.
It could be, and I have said that the Albert Park track it's a very difficult track because there are a lot of blind corners on it, but I'll tell you what, when you get it right, it's very rewarding, and Dan Stevens, as we speak, in the pits.
Is that for a second stop as well? Yes, it is. So the tyres are obviously not holding up on that 33 Woodstock Nissan, which is causing the pace drop-off.
Yeah, clearly he's just not quite getting marked to set up this weekend, and he's paying for it with tyres.
Yeah, so we've just on screen now we have the recovering Vegemite Racing Holden with Chris McCall in the Volvo in 8th position up the back of it. Chris has had a steady race after showing good progress for the previous 2 events, somewhat similar to the Dan Stevens issues. He just doesn't seem to have unlocked the potential this weekend.
No, look, that'll come with time, and look, sometimes you're going to hit the nail on the head, and the setup will be absolutely sweet, and the car will go like an absolute freight train. And then there's just sometimes that you just keep chasing it, and you just never find it.
Yeah, at least as we say, it's pre-season, so we can get these sort of issues out of the way and get going. So in 8th position we have Road Thief, who's shown good pace throughout the events, but he's found himself back down in 8th now, making the move for 7th position with 2 pit stops down. Seems to be having trouble keeping the tyres on that car as well.
I think that comes back to experience. He's just probably overdriving the car a little bit there and causing himself some issues.
Yeah, just as we say, he's just ran off a little bit there as well, which is unfortunate.
And as we're doing that, I've just seen Brett Clark make his way into the pits.
Second stop?
Already been in. Yeah, second stop for Brett, which is surprising. No, sorry, clear. According to this, is probably actually his first.
No, it's his second. It'll trigger as he goes past. Yeah, there we go. Second,
yep,
second stop. So that leaves Kai in the lead. We know that Kai's been hard on the tyres over the previous couple of events, but he's got a few laps remaining. Do you think he can hold out?
Well, that's one thing I was just about to mention. His previous lap to this one was actually his fastest lap of the race for the 53.04. So he's obviously got some tyres still underneath him. So it could be interesting to see what he can bring out with this.
Yeah, let's keep an eye on Kai at the minute. So last lap after that was a 1:54.1, which isn't too far off. That's good front running pace still. So that would suggest to me that he's still got a bit of tyre underneath him.
And it could show a bit of maturity already, that he's realised he's out in front and he's going to back it off a little bit and conserve those tyres.
Yeah, so we just keep an eye on him for this lap and see when he's come up. His sectors are thereabouts, 38.5 in sector 1, which is the second fastest for that lap, following Gavin Cox. And
your 38s is where you want to be in that first sector. 38s and 30s on your first two there.
Yeah, we got a 29.945 sector 2 come up, a 30.23 for Brett Clark sector 2. So he's faster than Brett, who's on new tyres, albeit his first lap out.
Yeah, those tyres on Brett's car have got to come up to pressure, come up to temperature before you'll see the best of them. But tell you what, he looks like he's driving that car a lot straighter than he has been. Oh, he's saying that, he's just slapped it.
Just as you say that there, we've got a little bit of drift action coming around that final corner. He doesn't want to do that too many times, there'll be nothing left on the rear.
And coincidentally enough, driving the higher car from Shane Van Gisbergen this weekend.
Yeah, maybe it's built into that car.
Must be a very stiff rear end.
Yeah. So that was a 44.999 sector 3 for Kai to unlock a 53.450, which is 2/1000 of his fastest lap.
That's a cracking second sector there, considering he's coming out of that final turn sideways. To even drop it into the 44s, it's quick.
Yeah, it was the fastest final sector of anybody on that lap as well, so good to see. So the Brett Clark car is up to speed now. Let's watch the sector times as they flick through. For this one, 39.860 for Kai in first position. The Clark car 12.5 seconds behind. Let's see what that sector comes up with. 38.1 on that one. So it's yeah, second faster on that sector.
Yeah, definitely. You can just looking at the Kai car now. It doesn't look happy in the rear. It looks a bit slidey. I think you'll find the tyres are cooked on that thing.
Yeah, so he has 5 laps to go. So is he gonna? If he's gonna make a pit stop, he needs to do it right now, and then run through to the end afterwards. Because if he makes it too late, the benefit of taking a pit stop will be negated.
Yeah, definitely, and I think it's got to be done now. Realistically, he's about 20, about 25 seconds in front of Gavin, so he could potentially come out just in front of Gavin, or even just behind him.
Yeah, and if he does come out just behind him, yes, and he's making for the pit stop. Good call there, good call, Troy. Yes, the DSA car from the lead into the pits, 25-second gap over third position. Hopefully, it's a planned pit stop.
Oh, I'm praying for one.
And here comes Clark down the start-finish straight to take the lead.
Just that little wave there to Kai as he went past, you know. It's
middle finger, perhaps?
No, that's Brett Steiner. Everyone's white. Maybe a weapon middle finger.
You never know. So Gavin Cox's car has just gone through now. This is another unplanned pit stop, Troy, I'm afraid.
Okay, there might be a mapping issue with Kai and his control there. He might not have mapped a pit request button. That's something I'll have to have a chat with him throughout the week. Yeah,
he's lost quite a bit of time there as well to Gavin, which is unfortunate. I think he's over 10 seconds behind. He's 14 seconds behind third position. That's quite a tall order to try and track down in 5 laps.
It is definitely, and especially when you look at their best lap times, they're only it's the 150.
Brett Clark is off.
Oh, how bad?
I don't know. Let's see if we can get a replay of that one. Not sure if we can get a replay of that one. But yeah, he was definitely off track. Just as I noticed, he clattered the left-hand side of the car down the wall and was in the grass. Still 14 seconds in the lead. Let's see what that lap comes up as he flicks over the start-finish straight shortly.
So just as I was saying too, if we have a look at the best lap times between Gavin and Kai, there's a 53.043 for Kai and a 53.050 for Gavin, so not enough in there.
Yeah, doesn't look like it. So here we've got Clark coming around to start finish straight now. Let's see how much time he lost on that lap. He's down to 13 seconds the lead now. 53.9 and so with an off-track moment.
It's incredible pace, isn't it?
What can you say?
Wow.
Yeah, 53.9 as well for the Gavin Cox car in second position as well.
Yeah, he seems to be losing a lot of time on Brett's there through that last sector. Obviously, the car not flowing as well as Gavin would like.
Yeah, so we've
And
had
Kai
Kai.
with the best third sector.
Yeah, we've had Kai come through with a 158 overall, so he's had a couple of slow sectors. It looks like he potentially had traffic on that one.
That was his first out lap from the pit stop, so that's actually not a bad lap, Steve.
Ah, that's true. Actually, yeah, he does have the last pit stop as well. You got to remember. So I suppose this is the first representative lap that we will have. He's 29 seconds behind the lead, and that is 15 seconds behind second position. I make it.
Yeah, thereabouts, and just Brett making his way through some lap traffic there, and that first sector is an absolute cracker for 37.8.
Yes, that's purple first sector as well.
That's dead on the money. That's right quick, and only a 30.3 for that second, so he's backed it off.
Yeah. Interesting to see, was there any issue or anything on that one, but he seems to be riding the curbs a lot, like he's not quite happy or comfortable with that car.
No, it's not that, Steve. That's just the quickest way around this track, and I found that it shaved actually 1.3 seconds off my lap time just by taking the curves.
Yeah, fair enough. So here we go across the lane, and a purple final sector as well for 51.716.
Yeah, it's not bad when you're this far into a race and you're still pulling out those kind of lap times.
Yeah, 3 laps remaining. That's 3 laps overall. Gavin Cox 15 seconds behind in second. Kai, who doesn't seem to be making any headway into that gap, just coming on to the start finish.
He's very slowly moving into it. I mean, there's not enough time for him to really put any pressure on Gavin for that second step.
He's just put in his fastest lap of the race there, 52.561. He's followed by the lap car of Wim Pengelly from ASR, who's just also dropped in a 52.6. So these guys are working together to try and move up a little bit, but it's too much work to do in the time that's left.
Even at 2 seconds a lap, it's not going to give him enough time to catch up to Gavin there. But look, it's the story of what could have been for Kai today, you know, with those pit stop errors, not calling him and not having the team ready. You're looking at 14 seconds there, and that puts him a second in front of Gavin.
Yeah, I think that's something you're going to have to work on, especially when he's got a more experienced teammate in there as well. Is just to talk it through together, get the team channel going, and all of that type of information flow back as well. Yeah, he obviously unaware of the book the pit stop in advance, or else you're going to lose yourself a lot of time.
Hang on a second. Are you trying to tell me that Kai should be talking to Darren Goosey about pits?
Well, Darren is probably the most experienced person with cocking it up, so...
Well, yes, that's what I was going to say. I suppose we can see how not.
So if any time Darren comes on the radio and says, let's do this, then if he does the opposite, he should be fine.
Spot on the money.
No offense to Darren, he's a good sport.
We all love Darren. Big shout out to him for his surprise 50th tonight. He couldn't be with us, but I tell you what, I've got my work cut out with me, with my boys, just with pit stops. That's where we'll be spending all our week.
Yeah, it's good to have that. This is the thing you learn with the team. I mean, without having a team, Kai would probably go into the season unaware of where he's losing time, and not be able to correct it, and wonder, why he's found himself back a little bit after every pit stop.
Oh, definitely, and it showed in the real game too that what difference a quality teammate can make for your championship. The example I use is Chaz Mostert and Mark Winterbottom. Now, after that massive accident that Mostert had at Bathurst, Winterbottom's championship went right down, and you didn't really see him up the front like you did before that.
Yeah, that's the thing when you've got two fast drivers and the communication is flowing, they know each other inside out as well. It just pushes the whole level of the team up that little bit more, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely, and morale's up, and it's also great to have another set of eyes and another brain to sort of look at it from a different aspect, because what you might be thinking might work, yeah, sort of, but you're not thinking of that other side of it, and he comes up with it, and all of a sudden there's another second.
Exactly, and I think the most stark example of it we've had this season so far is the Dave Kinnaman move to the 55 car of 555 Racing. That team has just moved straight on. Dave has been out front on most of the events, or thereabouts as well. Gavin has been slightly in the shade, but I know Gavin and his driving, it will come, and it will come sooner rather than later. But that team is just, it's now right up there, it's front running. It's going to be a pain in the ass for SRT all year.
I tell you what, Steve, you're right there. It is going to be a pain in the ass for SRT because they've dominated the podium. They've always taken 2 steps in the pre-season.
Totally, that's a very good point. Actually, they're the only team to do that.
So, in the team's championship aspect of things, you'd have to say that 555 are going to be a real hot contender this year for SRT.
Yes, they are. Unfortunately, I would also suspect that when ASR get the second driver in and run as well, because those guys showed a greater speed when they were together than when they've been separated, so they'll be right up there as well. And now we've got Kai, who's come from nowhere, joined DSA, and I can imagine that you guys will be thereabouts as well.
I tell you what, we've got the speed of Kai and we've got the reliability of Darren. That in itself can breed a championship, because I'd like to have someone that's a consistent finisher. Darren can be up there, thereabouts. If Kai can bring home the big points, it puts us in a good position to put some pressure on you guys too.
Definitely, yeah, and it's good to have that as well. Adds that other aspect to it. So, on the final lap, we have Brett Clark leading nicely in the '69 Caterpillar Nissan Altima. A little bit of traffic on the way to the win. What can you say? Another round, another win.
Look, we've even tried to throw jet lag at Brett tonight to try and slow him down. That doesn't work. Can we find something, please?
Well, we do have a cure for it. It's the form of the number 1 Jägermeister Nissan, which unfortunately has technical issues for this round, hopefully, and I'm praying to the weather gods and everything else that is resolved for next week, so we have that car right up where it's supposed to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not something you want to be having in the back of your mind leading into a season where you're defending the championship, not just personally as a driver, but as the team as well. And there it is, Brett crossing the line for the win there, and he'll torch that set of tyres and probably blow the motor at the same time.
Well, yes, that one should go back in the box. He won't be in that car next week, so good to see he's ended the pre-season on a high. Gavin has come across in second there as well. Measured drive, led the first few laps, but very well done to Gavin. And Kai coming up in third position there, just crossed the line as well. Nice to see him on the podium. Let's go and get the 3 podium finishers down for the post-race interview. If you just stand by, you listeners.
Buddy was moved to your channel. User was moved to your channel. User was moved to your channel.
Good evening, gentlemen, and welcome to the post-race interviews. Congratulations, Brett, on first position. Congratulations to Gavin in second, and Kai, well done on third position. Over to you, Troy.
Brett, mate, big flight today from Alabama back over to Melbourne for the race. Jet lag didn't even slow you down today.
Yeah, no, I had to make things right after yesterday. I wasn't happy with my performance in the wet last night, and yeah, glad I made up for it a little bit. But I still had the pace for Rob, to be 100% honest with you.
Yeah, look, obviously missing the battle there with Rob, and it's unfortunate that he couldn't stick around, because that's one thing we noted too that we were looking forward to, is the battle between you guys.
Yeah, so I think I would have come up second best, to be honest with you. But no, I was looking forward to it too, just to see if there was some kind of tactical way of saving tyres or something I could do to get the better of him. But well, it wasn't to be. But I had fun racing with Gavin, that's for sure.
Yeah, there's a section there between you two that we were actually on board with yourself just before you made the pass on Gavin. I tell you what, it was cracking TV to watch.
Good. I'll watch it later.
And Gavin, well done on second position there. You led the first few laps. You had an awful first race. There was a few incidents there. Glad to be back up front where you belong.
Yeah, Steve. There was a first race, was there? Forgot that already.
Yeah, so we've forgotten it as well. It was terrible, but yeah. So you seemed to have the pace as well. It was looking good there.
Yeah, mate, I just found a pace that was pretty comfortable. Didn't want to push it too hard and risk going off somewhere, but probably a little bit off setup-wise to Brett. just couldn't quite stay with him. He just gradually pulled away from me.
Good stuff, well done. And Kai, welcome to the podium. Good race there, some good manoeuvres as well. One thing we did note, did you know to book your pit stop in advance every time?
Yeah, I just had a bit of trouble putting a bit too much fuel in there and just too much tyre wear in the end that got me.
Yeah, you did appear to lose quite a bit in the pits with each and every pit stop, but well done. Looks good for the season as well with your new team and everything as well.
Yep, thank you.
Good stuff, guys. Thanks for that, and we'll catch you all again next week.
Thank you, mate.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Steve.
Buddy was moved out of your channel. User was moved out of your channel. User was moved out of
There
your
we go,
channel.
Troy. So that's a wrap. Potentially not the best broadcast we've ever done, unfortunately, so apologies for some of the technical difficulties. We will rectify that in time for next week. So I've been your host, Steve O'Connor, alongside me, Troy Allen. Thanks, everybody, and good night.